Good evening and welcome to Bedtime Stories with CrispySkates. And we are reading The Wind in the Willows, picking up where we left off just a few minutes ago. A little drink needed. Sorry for our tardiness tonight. We had a school event. All right, so here we go. The little curtain, the little curtained world within the walls, the larger stressful world of the outside. Nature shut out and forgotten, most pulsated. Close against the white blind hung a birdcage, clearly silhouetted, every every wire perch and appurtenance distance and recognizable even yesterday's dull-edged lump of sugar. On the middle perch of the fluffy occupant, a head tucked well into the feathers seemed so near as to be easily stroked. They had even tried the delicate tips of his plumped out plumage penciled plainly on the illuminated screen. As they looked, the sleepy little fellow stirred uneasily, woke and shook himself, and raised his head. They go see the gape of his tiny beak, he yawned, a bored sort of way, look around, and then settled his head back again, while the ruffled feathers gradually subsided into perfect stillness. Then a gust of bitter wind took them back of the neck. A small sting of frozen sleet on the skin woke them as from a dream, and they knew their toes to be cold and their legs tired and their home distant and weary way. Once beyond the village, where the cottages ceased, abruptly on the either side of the road, they could smell through the darkness of the friendly fields again, and they braced themselves for that long last stretch, that home stretch, that stretch that we know is bound to end sometime in the rattle of the door latch, the sudden firelight, and the sight of familiar things greeting us as long absent travelers from afar overseas. They plodded along steadily and silently, each of them thinking his own thoughts. The mole ran a good deal on supper, and it was pitch dark, and it was all the strange country for him as far as he knew, and he was following obediently in the wake of the rat, leaving the guidance entirely to him. As for the rat, he was walking a little way ahead, and as his habit was, his shoulders humped, his eyes fixed on the straight gray road in front of him, so he did not notice Mole when suddenly the summons reached him and took him like an electric shock. When the others who have long lost the more subtle or physical senses have not even proper terms to express an animal's inner communications with his surroundings, living or otherwise, and have only the word smell, for instance, to include the whole range of delicate thrills which murmur in the nose of an animal night and day, summoning, warning, enticing, and repelling. It was one of those mysterious fairy calls from the void that suddenly reached Mole in the darkness, making him tinkle and through with its very similar appeal, even while yet he could not clearly remember what it was. He stopped dead in his tracks, his nose searching hither and thither in efforts to recapture the fine filament of the telegraphic current that had so strongly moved him. A moment that he had caught it again, and with it, this time came recollection in the fullest flood. Home, that was what they meant. Those caressing appeals, those soft touches wafted through the air, those invisible little hands pulling and tugging all the way. Why, it must be quite close to him by now at this moment. His old home that he had hurriedly forsaken and never sought again that day when he first found the river. And now it was sending out its scouts and messengers to capture him and bring him in. Since his escape on that bright morning, he had hardly given a thought, so absorbed in being in his new life and all of its pleasures and surprises, its fresh and captivating experiences. Now, with the rush of old memories, now clearly it stood up before him, and in the darkness, the shabby indeed, and small and poorly furnished, and yet his home he had made for himself, the home he had been so happily to get back to. I can't get the page turned. After his day of work, at the end, at the home had been happy with him too. Evidently was missing him and wanted him back and was telling him so through his nose, sorrowfully, reproachfully, but with no bitterness or anger, only with plaintive reminder that it was there and wanted him home. The call was clear, the summons were plain. He must obey it instantly and go. Ready, he called, the full of joyful excitement. Hold on, come back. I want you quick. Oh, come along, mole, too, replied the rat cheerfully, still plodding along. Please stop, Ratty, pleaded the mole in anguish, with an anguish of heart. You don't understand. It's my home, my old home. I've just come across the smell of it, and it's close by here, really quite close. And I must go. I must. Oh, come back, Ratty. Please, please come back. The rat by this time was very far ahead, too, and to hear clearly what Mole was calling, too far to catch the sharp note of the painful appeal in his voice. And he was much taken up with the weather, for he too could smell something surprising approaching of snow. Mole, we mustn't stop now, really, he called back. We'll come for it tomorrow, whatever it is you found. But don't dare stop now. It's late and the snow is coming on again, and I'm not sure of the way. And I want all of your nose, Mole. So come on, quick. There's a good fellow. And Rat pressed forward on his way without waiting for an answer. Poor Mole stood alone on the end of the road, his heart torn asunder, and a big sob gathering somewhere low inside, deep inside, up to a leap to the surface. presently he knew in passionate escape. Oh, hi, welcome. But even under such a test, Ethel's loyalty to his friend stood firm. Never for a moment did he dream of abandoning him. Meanwhile, the wafts of his old home pleaded, whispered, conjured, and finally claimed him imperiously. He dared not tarry longer within their magical circle. With a wrench, he tore his very hardiness, set his face down on the road, and followed the submissively in the rat track of the while the faint thin smells still doggedly retiring in his nose. All right, you guys. I'm sure you can hear my little guy snoring. So, until tomorrow night, I plan to be on time. Sorry we're running late. Oh, hi. Welcome. I was just about to retire for the evening. How's your evening going? But you know what? Since you've joined me, I'll keep reading. Never mind. Until then, come back tomorrow and we'll keep on reading on page 71. Sweet dreams, everyone. Keep it crispy.